Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Link to the Past Randomizer tournament. Today, we're going to be watching ShivaHaze versus vortexofdoom. I'm Esmar, and I'm joined by the Titan 84. How are you doing?
Doing fantastically well this fine afternoon or morning, depending on where you are. And yeah, we're gonna have a fantastic game here, hopefully. And it is today MC Boss Shuffle.
That's right. So the maps and compasses are taken out of the dungeons, strewn about the world, and the bosses are looking at a change of scenery in most cases. But we're going to be getting started here, and looks like yes, both are starting here in Link's house.
Yeah, both doing Uncle Start. This usually you see one do this. I rarely see both do this.
Yeah, I know a while ago where Uncle Route was, the go-to strat, but in more recent years it seems that people are starting to sort of dip their feet both directions, but we don't start with a sword, so we're unlikely to see this go straight way into the escape. We do find the Moon Pearl though.
We'll pull out 3 bombs. That's really everything you want from here, because you want bombs, you don't want to restart back to the same spot.
Yeah, and that's gonna set you up to do Kakariko Village right away, which is, it's a nice payoff for those 2 extra checks.
And we have a music pack here, I believe from Shiva, which is Final Fantasy X. Really, really fun to hear all these different music packs in this tournament.
And Vortex rocking the Jogurt sprite from Shining Force.
Oh, the runner is deciding to skip the Lumberjack, understandably, since so many maps and compasses can be there.
We get the boots straight away. This is, I think this is shaping up to be a pretty good seed. Both runners probably already feeling pretty good about this. You get the Moon Pearl right away. You get the boots right away. It's okay.
Well,
Well,
yeah, Moonpearl boots. Yeah, that's really the 2 things you absolutely want early. Oh yeah, Hera Castle map, the one of the 2 useless maps. So yeah, this is MC Boss Shuffle. So all the maps and compasses have been shuffled. The maps will reveal where our crystals and pendants are. Our compasses will either will both reveal the number of items in each dungeon, but they will also reveal what boss we have to fight at the end.
yeah, and that's going to be especially important in cases where, it's some bosses are locked behind items such as Argus or Trinex. We do see the flute show up in Blind's hut, so this is a very friendly seed. Meanwhile, Vortex is going over to do the boots checks and is wrapping that in with a Lumberjack check. Nothing of note on Lumberjack ledge, so gonna just go ahead and check Bonk Rocks here.
Yeah, if you can, you could want to do a couple more checks before you head into CAC proper, just in case you get that flute or the bottle. Well, we get both of them in the village, so yeah. Oh no, lamp,
Wow.
hammer, bow, wow!
That I don't think I've ever seen that many good checks right next to each other.
That's 4 essential checks in a row.
Yeah, as an aside, all of that means that we haven't gotten all the rupees we need to pay the bottle vendor yet. So
We have a flute.
still short.
We can come back right away. Kakariko today. Wait, was that bottle there as well? Yeah, it was. So there was 5 items, actual items in the well. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, you know, people talk about hype cave, and that's I think the reason it got its name is because things like that can happen. You can just end up getting all the good stuff. I suppose the first one was bombs, but it's actually kind of a good time to get some bombs because running pretty low. Yep, bottle and then 3 straight items. Looks like we're having some transmission issues from ShivaHaze here, but
We're gonna get the same checks here from vortexofdoom, so there's not gonna be much trouble. Uh, vortexofdoom actually having the money for the bottle vendor, just 20 rupees today, but that's a check he doesn't have to go back for.
yeah, this is a pretty optimally efficient Kakariko right here. We've got the bottle, we've got the flute, which we can activate right away here. And yeah, we're getting pretty set up here for the start of the seed. It's going to be interesting to see how it branches out. Hopefully, ShivaHaze can get the whatever is going on over there. Hopefully, that can get sorted out.
So we have knowledge that Shiva's internet today is a little bit spotty, so he will obviously have a local recording, so there's no problem there. It's just we will maybe not see some of the race from him. That's not always in your own hands, unfortunately.
Meanwhile, Vortex going through the Kakariko checks gets 300 rupees from the sick kid, which is pretty nice payout. Just pay him a visit. Apparently, he's loaded.
Yeah, Richie Rich today.
2 bottles already too.
And the music now is Ace Attorney from Vortex of Doom. What's that? Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, especially with the hammer and the moon pearl, we're likely going to have some other entry to the dark world. So you know, it's nice to get as many of those dark world maps as you can, so you can just sort of check your bases upon entry.
Vortex of Doom here doing the perfectly standard route of going south shore with that flute. It's really, really quick. That's a mushroom. Early mushrooms tend to hide something.
Yeah, and it's a good time to get the mushroom. We do already have flute, so it's pretty easy to check kind of whenever at this point. I don't know if we'll see them sort of put it off. We'll probably see someone save scum that mushroom just in case, you know, you get the cane later and you want to fake powder check.
Yeah.
But can kind of decide to do that whenever.
Hold on being troll orm. Okay, we don't have much. Well,
We do have the hammer, but the hammer is one of the worst items to do this with. You see Vortex not using that last bomb. He definitely wants to save that for Ice Rod Cave, potentially. In case he doesn't get any more here, you don't want to be without a bomb.
Oh, definitely not. Now, we have Shiva's stream back. There is a time difference here, as you can see. We will get that sorted out eventually.
Yeah, we've got about 3 minutes to make up, but we're not losing any of the action over on ShivaHaze's side, so thank goodness for each runner having their own local timer too. We can
Yeah, this
we
is
can make sense of this.
Yeah, and that is instant mushroom turning from Vortex.
Wow, okay, a book.
Yeah,
actually
you're not gonna save scum that.
Yeah, that is potentially necessary.
Well, it's a crystal, and it's a full clearable crystal.
Until we don't have the glove yet. You do
Glove,
need the glove to get
right.
to the back.
I keep forgetting that you need
It
the
is.
glove to open that.
I've forgotten that before too. It's very easy to forget because usually by the time you have access to Desert Palace, you do actually have the glove.
Yeah, I've multiple times I've actually gone up to that back and realized, oh, I can't lift these.
Vortex flying up to the mountain, giving the old man a walk home. As ShivaHaze is approaching Mini Moldorm Cave, we'll see if they are able to do it a little more efficiently.
That's magic from the old man. That's always nice to have. Moldom's lining up a bit better for Shiva.
Yeah, and so fair point. Shiva was ahead of Vortex before the the connectivity issues occurred, and looks to be saving even more time. So Shiva's probably a few steps ahead of Vortex here at this point.
Yeah, that's a little bit optimistic, Vortex.
I appreciate the effort though. You know, hey, if you could pick up some bombs. He's only got one. He's trying to avoid, spending some of those rupees. We are close to Zora money, but not quite there. So spending 50 on 10 bombs would definitely be a little bit of a setback.
Yeah. But we don't know what the boss is, and we don't know what the prize is for Eastern yet.
Yeah, it's possible we can't clear Eastern. If it's Argus, we need the hook shot. If it's Cold Stare, we would need some way to thaw him out. And if it's Trinex, obviously we need Fire and Ice Rods.
Well, that's a sword. That's always useful to have, especially with boots. Now, Shiva went to Ice Rod Cave for a mirror. That's fantastic.
Yeah, Vortex is gonna have to pick that up later. It is in a sort of, we have the best equipment to sort of go and pick up that check later.
Yeah, with that sword, you don't have that much worry from the crabs either.
It is interesting to see if a glove shows up. Vortex might get duped into putting that check off for a while.
Yeah. Oh, he was farming rupees and then finding 3 hug. So yeah, I think this is him gonna go down to Ice Rod Cave and then prime a water walk for Zora.
Yeah, that would be my guess as well.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be farming rupees when you're at 400 something. Now, Shiva has that mirror, so he can continue up and to the East Mountain here.
Yeah, which, given how freely available both of those items were, I feel like it's a pretty good shot that we're going to find a glove over on somewhere up here.
One thing our runners don't want to find right now is a sword or a cape. And that's a powder on Ether.
Yeah, as you say, a sword upgrade would put the castle tower in logic for Dark World access. Now we're going to switch over to Shiva's side for a second, as we're seeing new content over there. Vortex is on hold for the moment.
Yeah, And this is actually us letting Shiva catch up to Vortex of Doom on the timer. Yeah, and as a note to people watching this, this is the one time we will do this run. If Shiva cuts out again, we will be having a time difference, unfortunately. Hopefully we will not.
Yeah, so far nothing super exciting out of Tower of Hera. But we will see if Shiva gets to pick up a first crystal here or not.
That hammer should be able to kill most things in this arena, right?
Shiva resetting up for that bumper dash there.
Yeah, Mothiola, easy peasy. Yeah, you don't want to be the person that gets knocked off the ledge by Mothiola in this arena.
Yeah, though with the hammer, it's a little tricky. You have to make sure you know your spacing pretty well, because if you're a little careless, the punishment's pretty severe in this boss arena. But Shiva is rewarded with that first crystal.
Yeah, and I think the smoky has locked itself in the basement.
Yeah, we did definitely. I don't think we saw that. Yeah.
No, we didn't have the smoky when we finished, so yeah, that has locked itself, and we don't need to go down there.
Yeah, so Shiva getting really rewarded here for checking Ice Rod Cave. It's one of those checks that, you know, a lot of the time you can get away with skipping early on, but this is one of those times where it really pays to not do that.
Uh-oh. Shiva, careful. That fairy really went for it.
Shiva probably wishing they picked up a blue or red potion at the potion shop instead of the green.
But yeah, so far nothing of use up on the mountain. We have Paradox Cave left.
Yeah, the big treasure trove. It's not going to beat out Cac well, this seed, but I
If it
would
does,
not be at all surprised to see the glove show up.
if it does, then we're in go mode probably. If it beats out the well in this seed.
Yeah. If we get a full 7 progression items here, we're pretty set.
We have Vortex of Doom back, and our runners are now in sync again. Mail there for Vortex. Nothing.
Okay, so that's good news for Vortex, because that means that missing that mirror isn't going to have an immediate impact in where these runners go. So Vortex will be able to pick up Tower of Hera later, and given what we know about what's up on the mountain, there will be virtually no cost in terms of, you know, what he missed going up there early on.
Now, Shiva can do the entire escape sequence, front and back, because of that lamp. Oh, that's a Trinix.
Yeah, Vortex unfortunately has to leave. Doesn't have the equipment for that. We get our second sword, Shiva's
Oh
first,
no.
in the beginning of Escape. So
And
that
that's
is
the
actually
second
going to
sword.
be, yeah, Aga in logic.
Yeah. I mean,
Now,
both of them have a lot of checks left.
Yeah, where was Vortex's sword? Where did Vortex pick that
Uh,
up?
the closet.
Okay, yeah, so Shiva hasn't been over there yet.
Yeah, unfortunately, we may have some internet issues here on Shiva's side again. We are going to keep the time difference here for now.
But yeah, this is actually pretty interesting here because I don't know if Vortex at this point is really going to hope to avoid the Agaseed super hard. Vortex now has all of the required items to go up the mountain, or not the mountain, the tower, and fight Aghanim for Dark World access. Uh, if he decides to clean up some checks, I would imagine you go for fake flippers with the Ice Rod Cave set up. So he probably will manage to get the mirror, but we'll see.
We'll see. Some audio for you very soon. Yeah, just a piece of heart. Yeah, piece of heart there can be bad if you have too many other pieces ready to
Yeah,
go.
if you set up that death warp, Shiva not going to have to worry about that with the mirror, but yeah, that can really really mess you up. You set up for that, you spend all that time setting up for the death warp, and then you get healed to full. Vortex heading to the back, gonna check that dark cross and the back of escape, which we haven't been able to get to yet without a glove.
Oh, that's the flippers. So now Vortex knows that is entirely in logic. We did not get the small key in the front, so the back of escape is locked
Yeah,
by our glove. But yeah, this is hopefully, yeah. Thank you, Vortex. You're going to
yeah.
the
This makes extra sense now. You could do this all out of logic and hope for a logical Agassi that you can skip, but with those flippers showing up, now it makes perfect sense to do this. Like, hey, this is a bunch of other checks that you can do. It's in logic before Aga, so may as well see if you can avoid the Agassi before you commit to the climb.
yeah. I think here you probably sprint. Oh, okay, you can. Yes. But you sprint to Hobo and swim back. Because that's the fastest way to get up there.
Yeah, I've actually, it makes perfect sense. I've never seen the water walk set up that way with the jump down from the waterfall while swimming, setting it up.
So if you have the flippers, you can do that.
Right, because most of the time you use it to avoid the need for flippers. But if you have the flippers, you can do it there, which is very, very clearly a little bit quicker than walking all the way around.
Hera map will just show us a crystal. Oh, okay, we're floating back down.
Now I'm very curious to. Well, no, never mind. I was gonna wonder if Shiva maybe decided to commit to the Aga play right away, but not gonna be doing
No,
that before getting to
yeah, he
Eastern
doesn't have
area.
it. Shiva stream is back. And yes, unfortunately, we are gonna have to see the time differences for now. We are not gonna do a reset of times because otherwise we're gonna be spending 2 more hours extra here.
You'll just have to do some mental gymnastics to keep track of where the runners are. If only we could simply fast forward some of the footage, but alas, that's not going to be possible.
If Shiva gets his flippers, and that might entice him to go over here. And that's our glove from the scam fish himself.
So exactly what Vortex was hoping, I'm sure, that the glove was going to show up at some point. Now we don't have to worry about going up the castle tower. And you sort of, you do feel good about that. You never feel like you're ahead because of that decision, but you're thinking, oh, there's a chance my opponent didn't do that they decided to sniff out the Agaseed. I feel like I almost certainly would have done it if glove was on, say, Agina. I probably would have gone that way, and if I hadn't found the glove, I'd probably just go up there. But Shiva about to pick up the second sword over here.
And Shiva is gonna go into Eastern. Vortex is entering the dark world from the village. Interesting.
Yeah, this is sort of an uncommon first entry with hammer and glove, just because, again, you do have to take the run around and go up here. A lot of the time you'll see runners start at Hype Cave.
Is that you have all the items you need to fully clear these down at this point. Also, Thief's Town. I believe the boss is already in the boss room, so we don't actually need to go all the way back for the maiden. I'm not 100% sure here, but if the blind is the vanilla boss, do we have to rescue the maiden?
I don't think so.
Or is
But it
blind
has
just
been a
gonna be
while
there?
since I've played boss show.
Yeah, because it's different depending on which type of boss randomizer it is, but it's victorious, so he can just rush and kill the boss. You do often 3 checks back here, which will be 2 or 3 checks, depending on if you have Smokey.
Yeah, it's not uncommon though to see runners go for the boss in the right up off the bat and then do the back afterwards, especially if they don't have knowledge on what the boss is.
That Smokey might change things because it increases the item from 2 to 3. That's nice. Yeah, you kill the boss first and then you go to the back. There is no way that you go to the back first in this mode. Wow, Vortex proving me a liar. He is going to the back first. He might want to pick up a bit more gear for Victorious.
Yeah, you know you do have the arrows to deal with the second phase, but you do have to make it through the first, which is a little bit non-trivial with. I mean, we do have the blue mail, that's going to help a little bit, but yeah, we're kind of low on hearts and do only have the Master Sword still.
Yeah, if you can get an invulnerability item, that would be fantastic here. Yeah, Vortex was going to bomb the floor for a split second before he turned up to the chest. That is how much that room has ingrained in us to throw that bomb.
Yeah, I'm sure lots of people have actually in a vanilla rando had the walking into that boss room realizing they forgot to bomb open that floor. In this case, though, Vitreous is not going to be weak to sunlight.
Yeah, full clear with these down here. Nothing in the back, so that might have been intentional to not have soul beams. Yeah, without the floor being damage dealing here, this is quite a bit easier fight.
Yeah, it is a little bit difficult in some ways. The damage boost from the floor is used in NMG to sort of prevent you from taking the more significant damage from actually contacting the eyeballs. But yeah, it takes care of that pretty easily here.
Hera compass not terribly useful.
And Vortex gets his first crystal.
Yep. I hook shot.
Yeah, so that hook shot shows up. It's a nice item to see. We are going to see Vortex continue south here. Probably putting off Skull Woods for now. We don't have the Fire Rod. We can't full clear it. And having started in the Village of Outcast, it makes sense to wrap around south this way and end with Hype Cave. And potentially a pod play.
Yeah, Skull Woods is only 4 items. Both front and back total. So there's not that many items to pick up there.
Yeah, the maps and compasses being shuffled does increase the value of basically all dungeons by a flat 2.
Whoa!
And there's the Fire Rod.
Yeah. And map check, we have Pendant Ice. Crystal Swamp. Crystal Skull Woods.
Yeah, this seed so far has been pretty generous with some of these items.
Yeah, I mean, what we actually need right now to defeat all the bosses is a cane and an ice rod. That's really all we need.
I would imagine that we actually see Vortex do swamp here.
That is very possible. He knows 2 of the pendants, so it's very unlikely that Swamp is going to be the last pendant.
Yeah, and it's a very, very item-rich dungeon. It just kind of increases the item density of this route by just a little bit. And now he's going to get information on one more crystal. We already know one of them was Desert, and it's Swamp Palace is the other 5-6 crystal. So yeah, we're going to see that. Probably actually going to play that straight into Bombo's tablet into Desert, potentially, to get both of those finished, because we can actually do that now with the glove.
Yeah, density and quickest number of checks. Meanwhile, Shiva is finally going to Zora to pick up his glove. That was 6.5 minutes ago, but...
yeah, we'll have to commentate all of Shiva's gameplay in the past tense.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But yeah, as predicted, Vortex is going to go straight into Swamp Palace. Now that we know it's a crystal, there's no reason to avoid it now. It's not going to get any faster. We already have the boots, so...
I mean, it could be go mode, but yeah, then you just skip left side.
It could be Trinex at the end of this dungeon as well. With the MC boss shuffle, there will be 3 bosses that appear twice. There's no telling which dungeons will have duplicate bosses, but we have seen Trinex once already, so chances are slightly lower that this is going to be an unclearable dungeon.
Yeah, we don't have the compass here, so we can't check. But come on, Trinex on Ice is a classic. But yes, having seen Trinex once, it severely lowers the risk of seeing it again.
Yeah, and Trinex is the only boss that we can't yet defeat.
Yeah.
But if it is Trinex, then that makes this a really, really big... you sink a lot of time just to have to do it again later. That would be pretty demoralizing.
Yeah, but then you know I can clear every single other crystal dungeon except these two.
True.
Because it is impossible for him to be anywhere else. That's that best. And go mode sprinting through swamp without picking up any items isn't that slow.
No, it's not. Most of the cost of double dipping swamp is in the entry, because you have to set up everything with the mirror.
Yeah.
Vortex taking a couple hits I'm not sure he wanted to take.
Nice there.
He needed to dupe that heart, because
yeah,
he wants to set up the diver down here, which he doesn't have the Cane of Samari, so he's going to need to use the bomb strats. Gets it first try, thankfully, because again, limited resources for how many times you can try that. Getting our first left side swamp check here. Just some bombs. And the big key, that's nice to see in the front half of the dungeon. Got Shiva back with an extra 10 minutes on Vortex here. Going to get the glove shortly from Zora.
Eight at least. Only having 6 hearts, having some invulnerability item really helps Vortex here.
Yeah, for sure. And with the half magic, you can use it pretty freely. You don't have to worry too much about
it. Of course there's a sand cart there after you pick up the 2 parts. Yeah, Shiva heading into the Dark World now. Starting Hype Cave, which I believe had nothing.
Yeah, this is sort of the other option of how you start your Dark World in this situation. Vortex starts in the Village of Outcasts and wraps around south. Actually, that route paying off really, really nicely due to that hookshot showing up in the Village of Outcasts. Shiva going to have to wrap around the other way, not going to be able to go up into the Village of Outcasts, going to have to return to the Light World and enter again to get there. We are going to see Bombo straight away here from Shiva, though.
Yeah, which Vortex is about to do, I think, when he gets out of here. Just 20 rupees.
Yeah, Shiva making it to those 20 rupees a good 10 minutes ahead of Vortex, so... Yeah, but this routing works out just so beautifully for Vortex here.
Yeah. We could have a glove in here in Desert, which means we have a... Oh, yeah, right. We do need another glove. I forgot about that. To fully finish this seed.
Yeah, we're going to need another glove. And we're going to need the red cane, most likely. Actually, yeah, it's possible we don't need the red cane. Because we don't know what the third pendant is quite yet.
Oh, luckily we had boost early this seed, so we didn't get to call for that big key. So the small key has to be here. Almost our boss. Okay. That we can do.
That's what we like to see. Clearable dungeons.
And for people who are maybe coming in a bit late to this stream, Shiva has some internet issues, which has caused his stream to be about 10 minutes behind by this point. We have the timers up separately, so you can see where Shiva was 10 minutes ago, whereas vortexofdoom is as of he is now.
Yeah, and technically that's on top of the 10-minute delay both runners already had set up prior to the race. But it's just extra security. That's what we'll call it. But interestingly enough, the delay is showing us both runners going through Desert Palace at the same time, despite that it occurring 10 minutes apart in reality. And the Helmsar boss fight here is made essentially no different by being in a different arena. It doesn't have the spikes at the back of the arena, which I'm sure most of us will remember as having virtually no impact on the course of the fight.
Nice sword. Tempered is quite a bit better than Master Sword.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have, given that before the fight. Is this we see Shiva going for the sword strats. Vortex went for the hammer to take care of the actual boss health, because it does quite a bit more damage to this boss than the Master Sword. So that is Shiva's second crystal. Both, no, well, actually, yeah. So Vortex has actually done 3 crystals, with the Tower of Hera waiting as a quick one to pick up later.
Yeah, and I believe Trinex cannot be in the Moldom arena because of that hole. So yeah, Vortex knows for sure that he can clear that dungeon. And yeah, we're gonna get a Pyramid Fairy check already here. Whereas Shiva is heading straight for Bob.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice, I guess you could say. I feel like Vortex is just getting sort of the run of this seed with the way the logic is shaken out. Being able to route those 2 dungeons back to back like that on the way of your sort of normal overworld routing is just really nice. And we see it with, you know, a quick 1-2 punch, picking up 2 crystals, going straight into the bomb here, and then being able to follow Shiva's lead and going down into Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, nothing in the Pyramid Fairy, but we can full clear pod. We don't know what the crystal is, but or if it's the crystal or pendant, and
yeah, I am assuming Shiva is hoping. Shiva's thinking, man, it would be really nice if both the ice and fire rod were here in pod, and you can full clear it, mirror back, and do Eastern Palace right afterwards. But I think worst case scenario for Shiva here is that the ice rod is in Palace of Darkness, because then Vortex can take advantage of that, and Shiva won't be able to, since the fire rod is in Village of Outcasts, if I am remembering correctly.
yeah, it was on the game. Now, parties usually have a lot of checks, and in this mode it has even 2 more than normal, so fully understandable that these runners are going here as early as they are, because there's a lot of checks you can do here.
Yeah, even if they knew whether or not pod was a pendant or a crystal, which we don't know yet, but it's still worth it to dive in here just because of the sheer number of checks that are in here.
Oh, we're getting hover. Yeah, this is the hardest hover to do because you actually have to turn and clip.
Yeah, the upshot is it's fairly consequence free to try a couple times, because again you respawn right there. See Vortex go for it a few times, but no dice here. Just gonna go around the normal way.
So nothing yet useful here.
cane
that's the cane.
shows up. So Shiva gets the cane early, relatively speaking here. Shiva got that about 10 minutes ago by Vortex's count.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's going to... That might encourage a dip into Ice Palace.
No, we can't. Oh, well,
But
now we can.
That might encourage a dip into Ice Palace.
Give me your precognition powers. So yeah, Mitz, that's Ice Rod Go mode, at least for knowledge.
Yeah, if we hadn't already cleared desert, you might think that might encourage our runners to dip into Misery Mire, but yeah, we'll see where Shiva takes this.
Yeah, I mean, you have Thieves now fully clearable. You know that you can't do Eastern yet because no Ice Rod or Fire Rod or Jiva. Yeah, we need a medallion, possibly.
Yeah, we either need a medallion or an Ice Rod or both.
Oh, we need at least an Ice Rod.
Well, it's possible that we don't actually need to fight Trinex, because Eastern Palace could be a pendant. But if Eastern Palace is a pendant, then we definitely need a medallion, because we need to do Turtle Rock. On the other hand, if we don't need to do Turtle Rock, then that means that we need the Ice Rod in order to defeat Trinex in Eastern Palace.
Finishing pod here will tell us a lot.
Yeah, because it's one of the, what, 2 dungeons? 3 dungeons.
Yeah, we have
3
3
dungeons
dungeons
left that we don't know the reward for.
Yeah.
If it's pendant, then we need both a medallion and the Ice Rod.
Yep.
And Vortex with that NMG knowledge, doing that hammering out.
Well, Trolldom in here is even easier than in this normal arena, because you can't fall down.
And he's got 3 eyes, all the better to see you with.
Thanks, game. Getting the pod map on the boss.
Yeah, and that is a crystal.
Yeah, so we either need the medallion or the Ice Rod. We don't know yet.
Now, even if Turtle Rock is a pendant, it's still possible that we need a medallion. Because the Ice Rod could very well be in Turtle Rock or Misery Mire for that matter.
Yeah, Shiva completely skipping out on the Village of Outcast and Thieves Town. But on both we don't have that, we can't enter Mire even. What should be right here? Well, that's our 2 maps we wanted.
Yeah, that's actually pretty great. Yeah, we see a map check straight away.
Yeah. So, Eastern is a pendant. We have absolutely no need to kill that Trinex. We might still need that Ice Rod because we don't know if there is another Trinex around there.
Yeah, so Trinex could still be... Can Trinex be in Skull Woods?
No.
Okay, so Trinex could be in Ganon's Tower. Trinex could be in Vanilla in Turtle Rock. But yeah, other than that, those are the only places that could have to run into Trinex in this seed here.
I have a feeling that Vortex is going to do the same check that Shiva did 10 minutes ago, which is go to Mire, check the shed. With that myth he just got.
Yeah, thankfully Shiva decides to go into Village of Outcasts before Skull Woods. We know that since the fire rod is down here. We might actually see Shiva go back up after getting the fire rod in dig game to just do Skull Woods, something Vortex was unable to do without the nits.
Now, Vortex going here. This has to be
yeah, this is Skull Woods.
Skull Woods, yeah.
And this makes sense to go ahead and do this dungeon. It's got 4 items in it. It's and it doesn't carry with it the risk of potentially getting duped into a pendant mire dip, because Vortex does have a medallion, and if it goes to check Mire Shed and Mire is ether, it's very likely that you're not going to want to decide to not go in at that point. And if it's useless, then yeah, you may as well give yourself some opportunities to pick up the items you're looking for on the way instead of taking a straight detour.
Now, Perry's not entirely dead yet. There could be a Quake medallion on it. Or entry into Total Rock.
Yeah, Ice Rod cannot be unped, and
No.
Bombos cannot be unped.
No.
So both of those would be necessary to get all 3 of the pendants.
So yeah, Shiva running through Thieves Town that we have seen earlier from Vortex. Not choosing not to do the back, which will save him time. There was absolutely nothing in the back there.
Yeah, I would imagine Shiva decides to go up to Dark Death Mountain after seeing the fire rod. Maybe clear Skull Woods first. But
You really
with
want to see
everything
what
in
that-
hand,
Yeah,
you know,
really-
if you have. Wait, where was the ether medallion? Was that in the back of Thieves Town?
Oh right, it was. I completely forgot about that. It's in the attic.
And we see Shiva skipping back to Thieves Town for now. So if Turtle Rock is ether, then that's pretty bad news for Shiva. Okay, yeah, I did. So Rain in chat says that ether was in the front, and Shiva did pick it up. I had
Okay.
thought that ether was in the front.
I remember it being in Thieves Town. I just thought, was it in the attic?
I recall it being in the front as well. So I'm gonna go with my gut and say that Shiva picked it up.
We are getting a pet check, Vortex. Okay, just some arrows.
Well, we could use that upgrade. We could use that. We've only got 5 there over on Vortex's side, so might just go quick, collect all those medallions just to get some arrows, just for safety.
Yeah, this is Vortex going for Turtle Rock and, well, the entire Death Mountain, because he hasn't done this before. While Shiva is doing Smith Chain.
Yeah, and this makes sense too. You go turn in the Smith first before doing dig game in this instance. Shiva, I believe our tracking is accurate, and Shiva doesn't have the fire rod yet. Okay, it looks like Shiva is going to... If Shiva didn't do... I don't believe that Shiva did...
No.
No, because Shiva
did
went
not.
to pod. So grabbing the purple chest here is rough, because that's it's orphaning dig game pretty hard.
Yeah. And realizing, oh right, you actually still need that until you walk here. And we have Quake for Turtle Rock. Not yet go mode. Might be under the rug here. Yeah, this is very unfortunate for Shiva, orphaning big game like this when we know that the asteroid is there.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things you can decide to skip it, but it's a lot more common to see runners go ahead and do dig game before grabbing the smith, because a lot of runners, myself included, have intended to wrap all that together. You grab the smith without thinking, and then you realize you can't even do the dig game. So a lot of runners will just go ahead and do the dig game first. Vortex going to be cleaning up the Light World Death Mountain here as Shiva heads into Swamp Palace.
This makes actual fucking sense that you can full clear this. You have to make cuts somewhere, and Shiva chose to do the cut at digging game.
With everything in that area cleared out now, it's gonna be a really hard sell to go back and pick that up later. I mean, that's a hard enough check to recheck, even if you skipped it accidentally, let alone on purpose, as it seems Shiva has done here. So I have to imagine it was intentionally routed that way.
And the crystals being as they are, the fire rod is required. So yeah, vortexofdoom routing around the mountain, dark and light side, and Shiva is heading into the swamp. Please give these runners a follow. They are putting on a fantastic show for us today. Their links are in the chat.
Okay, so Vortex opting to leave Tower of Hera for the time being.
He knows he can full clear it the moment he goes to Ganon's tower.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's definitely a call you sort of have to make to do Spiral Cave. Then you either have to climb back up to do Tower of Hera and the left side, or just go and do it some other time.
Yeah, the one thing Vortex misses is the powder on ether tablets.
Yeah, he might be going up straight away here. Yeah, he might have just done that because he knows he's gonna. That's the fastest way he's ever gonna get to Back of Escape. So he may have decided, hey, I'm gonna do a save and quit out of Spiral Cave anyway. I may as well go and do Back of Escape just in case the Quake Medallion is back there, because then if he gets that Quake Medallion, he can almost certainly full clear Turtle Rock, Vanilla Trinex notwithstanding.
Yeah. I believe, knock on wood, Shiva's internet issues have resolved themselves now. So we are just a 10.5 minutes difference here. Hopefully it will not be longer.
And Vortex nailing that hook speed setup for the Hera pot.
Yeah, Vortex doesn't have the information yet, but the moment he flukes to Maya Shed, he will have the information that all he needs to find is one Quake Medallion, and he's in go mode. Now, that quick medallion can be absolutely anywhere.
You're right. Anywhere other than inside of Turtle Rock, which is a fair number of checks, but yeah, there are lots of places it could be. At this point, it's looking pretty reasonable to guess that it would be in either Ice Palace or Mire, honestly.
Yeah, and we can't even enter Mire, so yeah, Ice Palace is looking more and more enticing. Oh, we can do Spike Cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything to the Ganon's Tower, not gonna be needed.
But that is the mountain entirely cleaned out.
Yeah.
For Vortex. No reason to go back to the mountain until you're finishing the game.
And yeah, this is my shit. While Shiva has cleared out Swamp 10 minutes ago. I think that was a rage slash there from Vortex for those maps.
Yeah, it's really it would be difficult even if these runners were synced up to determine who was having the better run of it, just because of the vastly different order that they're doing things in. The extra delay makes it really hard to determine who's in front right now.
So the only thing we can go by here is number of crystals that they have collected and when they do. And right now, Shiva collected his 5th crystal a minute and a half before Vortex collected his 5th crystal. Big thanks to Relic for keeping track of this. But yeah, Vortex doing the Smith chain, including the powder on the bat, makes perfect sense here for him. That powder was so out of the way that it is very likely it is something.
Yeah, we also see Shiva pick it up after getting the information on it earlier. Didn't have the Master Sword, so couldn't actually pick it up. Read the tablet, and then picks it up again on the way to check the Dark Death Mountain check. So both runners putting some emphasis on that magic bat check here that Vortex is going to show us in just a second.
So, what does the little bat curse us with us today?
Just a little bit of love.
You live in interesting times.
Yeah, so looking at the item layout, it's looking actually pretty rough for Shiva here. Because so Vortex has 6 crystals. The one missing crystal for Shiva being Skull Woods. And the fire rod sort of having been orphaned on Dig Game, it's hard to say if Shiva's going to get back to that in any reasonable time frame.
Probably not. I mean, he's probably going to go into Skullwoods before he goes to the Dig Game.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine.
And yeah, this makes sense from Vortex. He can do the 3 checks up here. Yeah, we're not going to go into Skullwoods again, but yeah, taking the shortcut through here. Did Vortex skip?
Yeah, I think he skipped the front.
Right. Right, he saved and quit from the pedestal.
And imagine there's the Quake medallion. So that is actually
almost go mode.
Potentially go mode.
Potential go mode, because we don't know if Trinix is lurking anywhere else.
Yeah, chances are pretty decent that Trinix isn't. We have seen Trinix once already in Eastern Palace. There are 3 places that Trinix could be that would throw a wrench in the mix. One of the first 2 bosses in Ganon's Tower, the Ice Armos and Lanmo 2, as well as the vanilla location at the end of Turtle Rock. All 3 of those could have a Trinix and could require us to find that Ice Rod, but Vortex in a really good spot right now.
I mean, since you have seen Trinix in one of the pendant dungeons, it makes perfect sense to just go mode everything right now and just
100%.
hope that, yeah, you're not going to run into it again. So yeah, Vortex has 6 crystals. This Turtle Rock will be his last. Yeah, so Trinix can be in the basement of GT in the ice room, or it can be up the gauntlet. If it's in the ice room, that only locks 3 checks. If it's upstairs, then yeah, that locks everything. Okay, yeah, Vortex is looking for keys, because we do still need our number of keys. Okay, we got Armos here. That's our first double boss.
Yeah, but that does mean that wait, was that Armos in Turtle Rock here?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I believe I saw Armos there on Vortex map check. Yeah, I believe we have, unless Vortex gets extremely unlucky, he has enough small keys now to go to the boss room.
Yeah, this is the ever-present. I've heard several numbers. The most recent I've heard is 3% chance that going straight this way, like Vortex is doing now, will prevent you from being able to clear the dungeon. It's a low risk, moderate reward play.
And yeah, 3%. You're not gonna gamble on that. Ooh, we have Shiva back. Now, I believe Shiva is using the menu to make his to swap from time to time. So we might actually see his menu from soon. He has not picked up Fire Rod or Quake yet. Yeah, even 10 minutes in the past, it is quite clear that Shiva is slightly behind Vortex at this point.
Vortex playing it a little risky. Doesn't pick up those last two checks in Laser Bridge, despite them potentially containing a potentially necessary Ice Rod.
I mean, that's the gamble you do at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it could be Ice Rod, Silvers, or another sword upgrade, all of which would be pretty welcome at this point, but Vortex not interested. Vortex is just going to head straight to the back here and just go mode the rest of the seed, which, again, makes sense. You don't want to risk... No, I'm going to spend an extra 30 seconds or so going to these last couple checks on Laser Bridge, and then, you know, you done 30 seconds after your opponent feels bad. And,
yes, we have some numbers rolling in chat right now. If you want to guess where the Ganon Tower's big key is, put a number between 1 and 22 into chat right now. The timer ends when Vortex enters the dungeon. I'm just gonna guess, I don't know, 20? Because
20 would be pretty bad. 20 would probably put it behind
the ice
boss, which at this point could require the Ice Rod. So that's gonna be it's gonna be interesting. If the big key is in the basement behind a second Trinex, that could be pretty spicy.
Now, for this mode, even if you have the compass as vortexofdoom has here, you cannot see what bosses are in here. You have to actually go and find out. And yeah, and no more guesses, please. Shiva doing the bomb duke here. Very well. So
the shovel does show up on right side of GT.
Yeah. Checks 1 through 6. Nothing. That just a piece of heart. There it is. Vortex is going to keep checking these. Yeah, these couple of seconds you can keep checking for that Ice Rod. So that was number 8. And the first one to guess number 8 is Mifflin88. So congratulations, you win 2 internet points, which you can use absolutely nowhere. Right, Vortex only has 3 arrows. Oh.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, he got the shovel, so he can go out and dig.
yeah, I mean, and this is complete RNG. I've had to do this myself before, but that's definitely not where you want to be. We even have no idea how close Shiva is. We can suspect that Shiva's got some time to make up. Oh,
So,
that's a quick 10 arrows.
Yeah, that's very quick. So
I've had to reload the screen before, and that does not feel good.
Nope. So Shiva is at 1 minute. We know that Vortex finished Hera his 6th crystal at 1:01, and Shiva is nowhere near getting his 6th crystal. So yes, Shiva is decently behind at this point, even with the timer being offset as it is. Fantastic rooms there by Vortex. That is so fast with those arrows.
Yeah, and this is going to be pretty bog standard for Vortex here. Again, he's runs a lot of NMG, so and this is pretty similar to the loadout you'd have. You'd have normal arrows, tempered sword. We have cold stairs, so ice rod not required.
Ooh, yeah, that was close, Vortex.
Puffs get away from him a little bit. And so for anybody not aware, Trinex cannot appear at the top of Ganon's tower in the second Moldorm fight, so officially no longer any need for the Ice Rod to show up. Vortex just has a straight shot to the end of the seed. We've got Vanilla Moldorm too here. We got to see, I think, 6 Moldorm eyes this seed.
Yep. And yeah, Vortex is rushing ahead, and yeah, Shiva has unfortunately not found his fire rod yet.
Ooh, narrowly misses that triple hit there.
Oh yeah, Shiva didn't check Lumberjack Ledge. Yeah, unfortunately, Shiva decided to do Smith Chain with the purple chest when walking past the game where his fire rod is.
And even that sort of came off the decision to route Hype Cave into Palace of Darkness rather than Hype Cave to Dig Game, which is sort of the other option that you can choose to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shiva's in a pretty rough spot here. Even being, 12 minutes or maybe closer to 15, I guess at this point, minutes behind. It's going up the mountain for just Spike Cave. It's not a place you like to be in.
Shiva knows that Skull Woods is a crystal, so yeah, he knows that he needs the fire rod to finish that dungeon.
So it's definitely looking, even with the deficit here, that the time deficit between the 3 streams, looks like Vortex has this race pretty firmly in hand. The good news for Shiva is this is just game 1 of a double header, so they're going to be rematching right away after this. Does miss the torch clutch, so he's going to.
He has half magic. So.
Yeah, he does. It does make it a little bit more irritating. Not going to get nearly as many triple hits in, and definitely going to screw with the muscle memory a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Fight.
Now these runners are running a double header, so they are going to run their next game immediately after this. So if you stick around, you're going to see them again. I believe that they are on the same channel. I haven't checked. But get your GDS in chat for vortexofdoom.
Yeah, Vortex finishes with an official time of 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 24 seconds. Yeah, so I'm going to doubt that we're going to take the time here for an interview, since these two are going to be racing again right after this. We can save the interview for that race. But yeah, as soon as we sort of figure out, I guess I could I will spoil it. Shiva is also already done with the race. Since we do stream these on a 10-minute delay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Shiva lost by about 12 minutes, I believe. So yeah, he was very, very far behind. That was clear from the footage that we were able to see. So yeah, unfortunately, GG's to Shiva. That fire rod completely messing up his run. That is Rando. Rando's gonna Rando. I think I can share this one comment from Shiva in the race room, which is stupid digging game.
Yeah, eventually got there. Did finish the seed out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it also looks like they are setting up the next race time room. So I think we are going to sign off here and hand you over to the next set of commentators in 10 minutes or so. Actually, it's gonna be a little longer than that. It's gonna be about what, half an hour before the next race starts.
About 25 minutes or so, yeah. So I want to thank the Alan Helfley for tracking for us today. I know that it's not easy to track someone that has those kind of internet issues, so thank you very much for that tracking. Also, thank you to Ravik for adminning this with everything that was going on. And yeah, thanks everyone behind the scenes, and you can take us out.
Yeah, so I think the next race is right here on SpeedGaming. Just double checking. It does appear to be. So stay tuned if you want to look at more rando. There's also races going on SpeedGaming 2 and 3 all throughout the day. Another one later at SpeedGaming 5. But yeah, I've been Esmar, joined by the Titan, and we are signing off.